What would you do if you find out after 7 years that the man you married and also fathered your child is your blood brother? Welcome to my page. Watch a true story on how love turned sour in The Same Blue. Emily Thorne was 32. Single and utterly exhausted by London's dating scene. She lived alone in a tidy second-floor flat near Chalk Farm. Edited books for a mid-sized publishing house in Bloomsbury. And spent her weekends walking Regent's Park with podcasts in her ears and quiet resentment in her heart. Her mother had died 5 years earlier. Her father, she was told, had left before she turned 1. She didn't talk about it much. Love for Emily was like the tube at rush hour, loud, frustrating, and always leaving just before she reached it. The men she met were emotionally unavailable, or recently divorced, or somehow still living with their ex. Just until the lease ends. One night at a friend's poetry reading in South Bank, she met a man named Elliot Sloane. He was quiet, not shy, just still. He listened, he smiled without trying to impress. He offered her the last slice of lemon drizzle and said, "I don't even like lemon drizzle, but I like the way you looked at it." She laughed for the first time in a long while. It wasn't a performance. Elliot was 34. A freelance photographer with a habit of taking blurry pictures of strangers' umbrellas in the rain. He lived in a tiny overgrown flat in Notting Hill and drank chamomile tea like a 90-year-old. Their first date was dinner in Soho. Their second, a day at the Tate. Their third lasted 3 days. He wasn't a player. He wasn't perfect, but he was present, and that was everything. They talked about life. About loss, about fathers who disappeared. "Mine left when I was a baby," he said one night in bed. "I barely remember him, died a few years back." "Mine vanished too," Emily said. "Mum said he was an artist. Irish maybe." She didn't talk about him. Elliot leaned in and kissed her forehead. "Maybe that's why we found each other." Emily fell, not suddenly but slowly, like a warm bath drawing her in inch by inch. 6 months passed. They weren't married. They weren't even engaged. But they were something better, home. They split groceries. Argued about dishwashers. Held hands in Tesco. Said "I love you" without fear. Emily got pregnant. It wasn't planned, but neither of them panicked. They laughed in the waiting room when the nurse said, "Congratulations," with an accent as warm as toast. Their son, Oliver, was born in spring. Elliot cried when he held him. Emily fell in love all over again with both of them. They didn't care about rings or titles. They were a family. Life wasn't perfect, but it was full. Elliot got more photo gigs, including a spread in Time Out London. Emily was promoted to editorial manager. Oliver started nursery, made friends, and drew endless pictures of cats with 6 legs. People envied them. It was Oliver's 6th birthday. They threw a small dinner, just a few close friends. Oliver's godparents and an unexpected guest. Elliot's estranged aunt, Margaret. She was a widow recently reconnected with Elliot after 20 years of silence. She arrived late wearing a burgundy coat and silver brooch. Dinner was lovely. Laughter. A small cake. A toast. Then Margaret saw a picture on the bookshelf. An old photo of Emily's mother holding a baby, smiling beside a man in a navy coat. Margaret squinted. "Where did you get this?" Emily turned. "That's my mum. And my dad apparently. I don't know him. He left." Margaret stepped closer. Her eyes narrowed, hand trembling. "That man. That's my brother. Edward. Elliot's father." The air left the room like a sucked-out window. Everyone froze. Emily blinked. "What?" Margaret nodded slowly. "That's Edward. I'd know his face anywhere. That was his coat. He wore it every winter." Silence. Elliot dropped his fork. "That can't be right." Margaret looked between them, confused, then horrified. "You too? You didn't know?" Oliver, in his birthday hat, looked up. "Mummy. Why is everyone quiet?" They were half-siblings. Same father, different mothers. No knowledge of each other. No warning, no signs. Elliot's mother had never mentioned Emily's existence. Emily's mum had buried the secret under layers of pain and silence. They had lived parallel lives, just streets apart waiting to collide. And they had fallen in love, had a child, built a life. Emily sat in the dark that night, Oliver asleep upstairs. Her hands were shaking. "We didn't know," she whispered. "We didn't choose this," Elliot said. "But we still did it." They didn't tell Oliver. He was too young. They didn't break up, not immediately, but everything felt different. Every touch, every look, carried the weight of truth. They spoke to doctors, therapists, lawyers. Each one said the same thing, legally. Unknowingly, you did nothing wrong. But emotionally, it broke them. They stayed in the same flat for Oliver's sake. They still made breakfast, walked him to school, watched movies on Saturdays. But the intimacy died. Not out of shame but out of grief. Elliot moved out the following spring. They shared custody. Stayed kind. Never told their son. Years later, Emily sat with Oliver, now 10, on a bench in Hyde Park. He was tall for his age. Creative, kind. He had Elliot's blue eyes. "Do you ever wish you married Daddy?" he asked suddenly. Emily smiled. "Sometimes. But I think some people come into our lives to teach us something. And then life changes." He leaned into her shoulder. She kissed his hair and whispered, "You were made from love. That's all you need to know." And for now, it was enough. If you were Emily, would you have stayed? If you stay till the end, kindly like, leave a comment and follow. See you in the next story.